I'll just bring this up. Okay, can you see the presentation there?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So here, as we sort of were mentioned before, what the purpose of the user group is, today's session is a semi-repeat of session 2. So the only one online now, I think Sean jumped in at the end of session 2. The purpose for a semi-repeat, because not fully repeated, was that we wanted to collaborate and share a lot more of user stories and what people have done in this space. And the topic was looking at engagement. So course/student, being teacher in this aspect, student teacher engagement on Canvas. So how you might design courses, or what LTIs you might use in Canvas to meet that sort of engagement need. And then the add-on to today's session was really looking at a start of discussing data analytics and how we might capture that through Canvas and what different people are doing. There are you know, a myriad of ways to collect data and use that to track teacher PD or to look at engagement. And so we want to sort of hear some ideas about what you're doing at the moment, and then that would lead into a bit more of a demo next session on the data and analytics. So the format, I guess, of the sessions is that we normally have a topic, and then we really do open up the floor to encourage you guys to discuss, to show and tell, as I call it, show what you do. I'm happy to give you sharing rights to share your screen. Everyone's very sort of open in the fact that we're not here to steal each other's content or clientele. We're here to sort of share and improve our practice. So really keen to have people feel comfortable to share, not only for the IP side, but more so as well. A couple of people I've spoken to in the past have said, oh, I don't really know whether we've got anything worth sharing, but I really believe that we start by seeing how others do things. And as I said, we might take away one thing, and that could be the thing which really helps us improve our practice. So please don't think that you don't have anything worthwhile sharing, because your positive experience or your negative experience, or, you know, pros and failures will help everyone else learn as well. So really want to open that up today to get your feedback. And then we look at the next session being, yeah, what's next on the list and when will that be? So we've sort of done this in terms of introducing yourselves. I know there's always an extra person online each time, so it won't be on the recording, but if you come along to the next session, obviously everyone will see each other again. So as I mentioned earlier, where we're at right now, we've had two key sessions, one on, you know, content theme, you know, template ideas and what people use to create templates within Canvas. We also have then had the last session, which was about engagement, and that encompassed the use of LTI, as I said. And then today we're adding in that element of data, you know, analytics and collection. Are there any comments from the group that are on here today to raise in terms of this topic before we get into a bit of a sharing area or ideas? Quiet so far? All right, well, we'll get straight into it then. So in terms of what we spoke about last time, the course content engagement ideas and the common use of common LTIs. In the previous slides, not on this one, we have a graph of the most commonly used LTIs from the APAC region. So if you weren't at the last session, you can go back and have a look at that graph and see what others are using. This is more so just to set the scene for today when we are sharing and talking about ideas, that engagement is commonly, I guess, addressed through content design, through features that you use in Canvas, external LTIs that you might add on, the mode that you know, how you deliver, whether it's blended or online, yeah, or face-to-face when possible, and how you know, give feedback as well is obviously another engagement sort of strategy. So we're keen to hear your ideas in those areas, and then also perhaps some themes or ideas around the purpose of the LTIs that you've perhaps chosen to bring in. And as I said, there's a myriad of ideas, but if you think about the whole structure of the collaboration between the core features of Canvas and those additional LTIs, and then how you put all that together, what does that look like, and how does that drive student engagement is what we're trying to see and achieve here from the different groups we have. If you're new to Canvas, like a couple of us are in terms of teacher PD on Canvas, if you haven't quite got there yet. We want to hear what your plans are or what your barriers may be as well. So with that being said, I thought to break the ice with some bit of knowledge sharing, I have, I guess these three, I call them buckets. People will laugh at me if they hear my analogies all the time, but there's different areas or buckets that you may be in. You may be one of those ones that have started to, or have been using Canvas and you're addressing student engagement, being teacher engagement via X. You haven't started, but you envisage it to look like X, or you're finding that these are the barriers that you're having to preventing your progression with student engagement. So this Padlet here, I'm going to copy this into the comments, and I've got an example there of what we have started earlier. So if you jump onto this Padlet here, and you'll see an example. Let me know if you can't get in to that one.
Yeah, man.
Fantastic. So just as a first, it should be live on our screen here. If there, all you need to do is come across to the bottom right-hand side and click the plus button. And what we were keen for you to, to create a little card for your institution. Rio and I have got one there, Team Rio and Tori, Tori Rio, just saying, what are your current engagement strategies? And just blurt out what you currently do. Is it module workflow? How to use Canvas? Give you a bit of time just to throw some ideas down there, and maybe how you'd also like to explore or what you'd like to know more about in terms of engagement strategies on Canvas. I really need some elevator music as well.
So Vicky, you work with Leslie from Lismore?
I do, Rio, yes. She's actually the person that runs a lot of my Moodle stuff for me.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
I had a chat with her this week, so.
Oh, good, because she's writing a course for me to put in my Canvas.
Yeah. Yes. So it might be worth kind of inviting her to this group as well, because.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's actually, I can't step on some other people's toes.
Yeah.
So.
I hear.
Yeah. But yes, I will see what I can do to get her along on this, because some of the stuff I put up here is going to be stuff that she and I have worked on.
Yeah.
Across diocese.
There you go, Sean, you're familiar with the old Padlet, that's great.
Yeah, I've actually just been rolling out a site license to Basto for another part of DET at the moment. But yeah, Basto have a site license, and so does Performance Division now. Yeah.
There you go. It's been a pretty cool little tool just to use on the fly. I think it's come to its own in terms of certainly with COVID and everyone jumping online. I think it's been an easy tool for people to adapt or adopt.
Yeah, and it embeds so nicely on a Canvas page.
It does. Excellent. I'll give you a couple more moments to
hard waiting, isn't it?
Pop some ideas in there. And just as you're sort of typing in, and if you are finished what you're writing, if anyone is willing to choose an element of your Canvas and just maybe just share the workflow, not interested in having to see, private data or information, but more so just giving that vision or that workflow that you currently undertake. If you're happy to share, that would be amazing. Also, if you're reading across each other's notes here, if you like an idea or want to hear more about them, you can use the plus or the minus, up or down button. don't put the down button, maybe just a thumbs up. If you're interested in, yes, we'd love to know more about that, or that sounds like a good idea, because then we could sort of leverage off getting, if that person's happy to share, maybe a bit of a voting system for who's going to share first. Oh, it's even across the board. Oh, someone's thumbed up for you, Rio. Ow. That was just me doing a design. That's right. Excellent. All right. Well, it looks like we're pretty much even Stevens across the board here. So just having a look from left to right. So Catholic Ed Bathurst. So Vicky, you're currently not directly teaching from Canvas yet, or using Canvas for the PD side, but you've got your design ideas already set up. Did you want to explain a little bit about that? And obviously you may not share unless want to share your template in Canvas, but did you want to explain a little bit about how you guys are using, or looking at the engagement side, and anyone else can ask questions too. The idea would be having about 5 minutes each just to discuss and ask questions.
Sure. So as I said, it's in our legacy Moodle that we've sort of done a bit of a design think process over a number of years. What we've worked out is 45-minute modules are about the sweet spot for people. So taking any sort of activity longer than that for teachers seems to have a decline in completion. So we advertise our courses as taking between 3 and 6 hours, depending on your tech skill ability. And if it's 3 hours, it's about 45 minutes a module with a deliverable at the end of that module. The visual design elements, Leslie's been doing an awful lot of work on consistency of buttons for different things, so that there's actually a visual explanation of what the task might include, as well as a text explanation, and trying to make that consistent amongst courses, bearing in mind a lot of our research came through that teachers were doing these things at 10 or 11 o'clock at night after they'd worked full time quite often, so tired eyes, they put the kids to bed, so trying to factor all those life context things into our design elements. And then she's facilitator supported, so we offer a mentored course, which means she's available by phone and email support specifically as a person, and to actually help people through if they have problems, which solves some of our low tech confidence issues if they know somebody's on the other end of the line to actually help them. So from that, we've been getting probably about a 85% completion rate, which has been pretty high in our online professional development. So of course we have people withdraw for life reasons, but we time it. We have 2-week courses, and they start on a Monday morning and they finish a fortnight later, so they get 2 weekends in that time frame. And she does pacing emails as well on the way through. So she says, this is day 5 of the 15-day course, this is day 7 of the 15-day course, just to remind people. We found going longer than 2 weeks doesn't adjust the completion rate. The 2-week rate, 2-week time seems to be manageable bite-size chunks for things. So yeah, that's where we've got to. I imagine all of that coming into Canvas too when we actually start to get courses up on Canvas.
So on that's a really good point to raise. Is anyone who's using Canvas for the teacher PD, like, have you trialed timeframes with your teacher PD, or how you do like alert them or keep them posted? And is there anything that anyone would like to share on that area as to how Vicky could perhaps translate or set that up within Canvas?
Good point. We've got one of those Growing with Canvas courses happening, so it's very open, and even with announcements, etc., it hasn't budged people along much.
Yeah. Do you use due dates or anything, Bobby? Or
no, that
okay.
could be a way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it's just one of those continuing courses that whatever.
Yeah. But I guess that's sort of a big thing for all of us, isn't it? We know that we get frustrated at our students when they don't submit or do things, but then when we think about teachers and life getting in the way, as 2020 has certainly been a bit of that.
Yep.
You know, some people have had large amounts of time, but I guess if anyone's lost time, I'd say it's been the teachers with what they've had to do and how they've had to flip. And but in terms of, yeah, I don't know if Vincent or or Sean, if you have any other feedback on that, or how you've combated or how you do keep teachers on track with course design.
Yeah, so obviously, especially down in Melbourne, being in stage 4, everyone is in general teaching from home and learning from home. I was going to say, Tori, if you want to give me sharing permission, I can share kind of one we did last week. So one of the programs that I'm currently working on is Essentials of Literacy Local Leaders, ELL, and I think it's Essentials, but I've suddenly got tongue-tied on the what the E stands for. But essentially, it's PD that's done for teachers by teachers. So that's, I suppose, what's the interesting thing is we partner with literacy master trainers and we design a topic or a theme and they present it. So what we've done with that is that we actually they have a video conference. I mean, currently we're using Zoom, but they have a WebEx, and then I rebroadcast the WebEx via YouTube Live. So what that looks like in terms of the Canvas page is like so, hopefully. So on the Canvas page here, you'll see that there is the YouTube with the videos and the PowerPoint, and we've had so similar that participants can watch along with the live presentation. Our live presentation is an hour and a half, but what we do is we try and break it up into sections along the way, so you're not just doing screen time the whole time. Like, so during the presentation, there'll actually be stop and do this or think about that. One of the other features we've taken advantage of during this one is an assignment. So we've actually got people during the live presentation to complete an assignment. For this programming, 950 the peak was 949 people watching. Because we're going over YouTube Live, we could monitor, by the minute the people watching along. So we had a 90+% retention rate across the entire hour and a half, and we had over 350 people submit the assignment live during the presentation as well. And then from there, obviously, connections out. So essentially, this runs as one big master course across the whole state. But then there are also, I suppose, supports per region and area. So essentially, there's the big live broadcast that goes to everyone, and then there's the ability to offer geographic areas to connect back to the literacy master trainers in their area. So yeah, that's kind of one quick example of one. So yeah, where we've used YouTube Live, 90 minutes, Padlet back channel, and an assignment all live. And I just did the rehearsal for the second one of that presentation this morning as well.
Fantastic, thanks, Sean. That was great, great insight that I'm sure everyone would take something from. Yeah, brilliant. I'll bring back up. Are there any questions for Sean while I bring back up the Padlet?
Can I work with you?
Can you design ours? Is that what... I think, Sean, you'd be probably a very much a wanted man across many institutions for your help and what you've been doing there. That's fantastic. Yeah, Vincent, did you want to share a little bit about what you've mentioned on the screen here?
Yeah, sure. So we are a Google school, so we use Google Meet, and our onboarding course consisted of 5 teams of 3 teachers each. So we're onboarding 15 teachers. So let's say the basics of the strategy is if we use the redirect tool to have those links for each group and make those recurring meetings, but we put those group 1 Google Meet, group 2 Google Meet, etc., on the course navigation bar we're hoping that people would use those links and not have to worry about creating meetings. And hopefully that will also bring them back all the way to Canvas. As they're being onboarded, we want to reinforce login procedures. We don't want them to get locked out, et cetera, et cetera. The other advantage, and I don't want to get into too much details right now, but because we're a Google school, forcing them to use a Google Meet that I have created, I'm then able to extract data from Google about their participation of the Google Meet and look at how individuals participated in each group from that. So we can see amount of time that each person spent in the Google Meet and how many occurrences of each Google Meet there were. So there are other data analytics purposes behind that. But the main point I was trying to get at is how easy is it to access what we have designed for them in a way. In terms of consistent page layout, it is more so to save time on my end as I'm duplicating pages nonstop. So if I could, I would like to share my screen to just talk about the layout in particular.
Yep, sorry, my bad. I was a little bit slow on that one. I'll grab you. Sharing that. Here you go. Apologies.
While that's loading,
Good.
I was just going to ask you a question. So the redirect app you're using, is there a reason why you chose that over, say, the Google app integration, or sorry, the Google Meet integration?
I would say there are quite a few, maybe at least two. The first one is how easy it is to set up the redirect. It's a specific link, and I can just set it up that way. The second one being the adding the Google Meet LTI to a course will make that LTI appear in the extra options, and we don't want to overcrowd our extra LTIs. Am I making myself clear? You know what I mean? Like you have to go to the little plug to pull down your list of LTIs.
Yeah.
Because we have Google assignments installed, Canvas Studio showing up on there. We don't want to overcrowd that space either. And I would need to look at it again, but the first time I looked at the Google Meet LTI, it did not offer functionalities that I thought were interesting in the sense of using the LTI versus just opening a Google Meet page and just creating it from there or via the Google Calendar. Because it wouldn't add my Google Meet to my Google Calendar. So if I wanted my Google Meets to be recurring and always valid, then I needed to do it through my Google Calendar anyway.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share my screen, and there's two main things we decided to do in order to improve engagement with the content. Is first the layout, so users hopefully would know that every lesson starts with an introduction and a main section. But the second thing is every time we do a video wall with Canvas Studio, we try to, it's not always possible, but we try to keep our videos under 2 minutes. So we have some 1 minute, some 30-second videos, some 1.5 minute videos. And every time we replace the thumbnail to describe what the product is and what the video is about. So hopefully people know exactly what they're looking for and they're clicking on the right video right away. And we always offer an additional information section. In terms of preparing that design, I made a banner, some icons, and then we have section under this format and then subsections under this format. So if I went to my modules, the first thing that I did in this course, and that's to save time on my end in preparing all that, is to have my template ready to go so I can just duplicate that nonstop. And if I'm working with other people I didn't do it here, but to tell those other people for a video wall, I want those dimensions. So for me, consistency is key in the sense that people will know where to go to click, like what to click on, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the strategy we went for engagement. However, I wanted to also mention that this was the idea that we had, in a sense that, oh, that's going to be great, that's going to improve engagement. Well, the only improvement we saw in engagement is when management said, yeah, you have to do this by the end of the week.
Exactly.
Not by us trying to make it more engaging in terms of the content itself, right? So
that's a really good point. I think I had a chat to another customer only last week about that. They're sort of that balance of striving for perfection versus actually getting some initial results. And she said basically in lack of, not in the same terminology, but basically saying that we needed to push people over the line to say like why they had to do it, as opposed to didn't matter how many fireworks and pretty things they had on the screen. Yes, design is important just to make it easy to follow and navigate, that's for sure, and that minimizes time on your end of supporting and help tickets, but yeah, it's sort of like, how is it mandated, or what's the purpose of it, what are the drivers behind them even logging in there? They probably wouldn't care if they're logging into a textbook necessarily, like I think it's a balance of getting something up on there easy for them to access, but then also striving to be better, but it doesn't have to be perfect before you launch it. And I think that's what you sort of mentioned there, is there are other factors involved in student engagement or teacher engagement. I'm sure we all had a bit of a laugh at, so I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of that before.
Yep.
You've had that experience, Bonnie? Oh, sorry, Bobby?
Absolutely, yes. And my mantra is done is better than perfect.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's hard to sometimes get your head, especially in the space that we're all in. You want it to be beautiful and pretty and everyone jumping in there for the right reasons. But ultimately, sometimes it's a matter of getting something up and then continuing to refine and getting the feedback from teachers as to how they found.
But if your purpose is clear and some support from the top is really helpful.
Yeah, fantastic. Great sharing there, Vincent. Thank you for that. Now, Bobby, I think you were next. Oh, sorry, Sean, did you want to add anything else? I think you're next on the Padlet. Did you want to add anything more to what you were talking about? Just bring that back up.
No, I suppose, the only other one, I suppose, in terms of, engaging users, I suppose is, obviously it starts with content, not design. We're kind of lucky enough in our situation that I think we've had a lot of wanted content. So we not only kept the content that we were looking at delivering this year, but also you pivoted to COVID-specific content. So a lot of focus on student wellbeing, staff wellbeing, managing remotely, those kind of themes for content. So I suppose some of that is, people have still, wanted to attend and, wanted to engage with the content because it was content that they needed right now. So I suppose having a really quick, only, 1 week, 2 weeks, in terms of our term planning, thinking about, and sometimes even one day we came into this term thinking we were going back to face, and then within a few weeks, the whole state was remote again. Certainly being agile, having, a good body of not only digital learning designers to do the Canvas content, but also subject matter experts to assist with, any content that I suppose, especially in a COVID-related education setting, that people need to deliver. And you get to hear my 3-year-old being excited about winning on Nintendo Switch in the background.
How times have changed, isn't it? Thank you for that, Sean. Very, very good input there as well. Any questions for Sean before we then move over to Bobby? Excellent. And just before I do head over to you, Bobby, is just, I think we've got Bonnie as well on the line. So apologies, Bonnie, I just saw that before. If you wanted to jump into this Padlet that Rio put up there, you're welcome to jump in and pop some ideas as to how your organisation is using Canvas to tackle that engagement piece with teachers. So Bobby, would you like to be sharing?
Sure, yes, please.
Yeah, cool. I'll grab you. I should put this to everyone for permissions. There you go.
Which one shall I choose? Righty-ho. So can you see my screen?
We can.
Great. Okay, so these are just some examples of how we're using it with our teachers. So I'm technologies curriculum at the moment, so this is just a really handy course here with loads and loads of info for teachers. But this one here we've put out to all teachers in the state about online learning. As you can see, we've got Ali embedded, so that's what all the little pesky dials are. But that's been really helpful to direct teachers to. Nice and simple. Let's go back. And there's the Growing with Canvas one there. And just little courses that we can throw to teachers if they're getting stuck with things like embedded tools. This one here is all of our recordings about things Canvas, and just a professional learning course that I did with just a staff during COVID. But then just down the very bottom, another one that every staff member has to complete as well, sort of about COVID. Just lots of goodies, you know, swimming and water safety, formative assessment, so all the works.
And in those courses, do you have like examples of how you like set them up to engage teachers as they go through, or do you have any words of wisdom?
Some of them are just dive in and use as you need to. Like get information, and some are self-directed. You've got to self-paced. Sorry, you've got to go through the modules, and some use on the day. Just all different. You know, depends on your purpose. So, yeah.
Are you able to deliver a bit of blended? Is that what you're sort of doing at the moment? Bit of the blended practices with those, or some of them are purely?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
It's very nice design.
I know. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, yeah, it's good, very good.
Cool. So that's about all I've got to share at the moment. But yeah, it depends on your purpose.
Yeah, and do teachers sort of reach out to you to like that they want to be involved? You're talking about the embedding tools one. You would then go and enroll them, or is there another way? Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, so I delivered during COVID some webinars about how to use Canvas, etc., and that gave them the self-enroll code to get into that one and into Growing with Canvas, and I've just shared it out to whoever needed them as well.
Yeah, great, cool, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. That's brilliant. Are there any questions for Bobby?
Yeah, one from me. Would you say, and maybe you mentioned it, I apologize if you did, are those courses mandatory for teachers to complete, or are they just open for, so the main target is just sharing knowledge with them?
Yeah, that's right. Nothing mandated, unfortunately. Oh, the COVID one was.
Okay, and therefore, have you seen a difference in engagement and participation between the COVID one?
Yeah, they
because
all
it's
did
mandated. So everybody did that one.
Yep, they couldn't go and have morning tea until it was done.
That was
okay. Thank you.
It's Vicky speaking. That was going to be my question, Bobby. Are these registered in some way? Do you have to collect evidence of completion of courses for any certification or registration?
There's a certificate linked with the Growing with Canvas one, and there is one also with the COVID, which I display very proudly.
Yeah. I think this is a really interesting conversation about the purpose of your professional development. Self-paced and self-managed has sort of some key elements to it. Mandatory has some key elements to it. I'm gathering Basto is paid, so there's some intrinsic motivation in paying money. And you know, the different audiences and the different selection processes that they have on these is really interesting.
Yeah, and then when there's a need, like, you know, when I give someone a self-enroll link, then they'll use it. Yeah, so different purposes.
I was also going to ask, Bobby, you said the COVID course was mandatory. One of the things currently, we actually have a different LMS system for what we call self-paced, self-directed online and compliance training. And so I would suppose, how has having a compliance style module, in terms of one that you have to not only get people to do, but then report on to HR and possibly other avenues, how has it gone having that style training in Canvas, and how many, like you said, everyone had to do it, so how many?
What was that last bit? How many?
How many students completed the course in what time frame? Like,
I haven't delved into that. It wasn't really my course. I've just had to do it. Let's have a look. I'm sure someone's keeping an eye on the analytics. But yeah, that's where we'd go to, obviously. Actually, I shouldn't really show you, should I? I'll just get out of that. It might be secret. I'll stop sharing now.
No, great insight. Thank you for that too, Bobby. I've noted down who's passed. No, joking. No, so that's really good sharing as well. Thank you for that. And I don't know if not Bonnie. I think Bonnie has dropped off. I believe she had a 2-year-old in the background, which is as Rio said, it's not too different for everyone at the moment. 3, 2, 1-year-old. But yeah, no, thank you for that. So, which the end of what you discussed at the, coming to the end there about data analytics, that was actually really good, leading into a nice segue into our next discussion topic. So what we've covered today has been a nice insight into some of your ideas as to how you're putting things up on Canvas and what other systems you're using in collaboration or in conjunction. What I'd like to sort of just touch on as we finish is just a bit of a, I guess, quick list of what you're using for analytics and how you're capturing that, so we can bring that into our next discussion and have people present some ideas about how they're capturing analytics and I guess that in capturing the engagement through analytics. Did anyone want to suggest what they're doing? I could have made another Padlet, but that'll be for next time. But I'll take a note of them for our meeting minutes. But yeah, if anyone wanted to share how they track and look at that stuff, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, well, for us, yeah, it's, I suppose, quantifiable minutes, page views, clicks, assignment submissions. Obviously every one of those numbers is important, and the more, the faster, the better. So as I said, if we've done live presentations, we will track the number of people in the Padlet, the number of people in the watching the YouTube, the number of people submitting the assignment. For synchronous learning, the number of assignment submissions live, the number of video watches the next day while the content's still fresh. So I think you've got those live statistics, and then are people going back to the content and why? So yeah, not only at a whole of system, like the whole of obviously our instance, but then at a individual course view. I think the one that we still challenge with, and again I suppose I'd look to Bobby, is I think synchronous is very easy to get, synchronous participation, chat, things like that. Non-synchronous is very easy to get people to do activities, assignments, things like that. I think what we're still trying to work out is how to improve collaboration in a Canvas space for non-synchronous. So, in that example I used before, there is the one large broadcast that is synchronous online learning. Then they go down in their smaller geographic areas again, and in the smaller geographic areas there's a discussion board and a coach per area. So one of the things we said was, oh geez, we're not getting as much interaction in Canvas in that space. So one, it was going back to the coaches and going, can you get them to drive student participation in the discussion boards? But that's still a challenge, is how do you get people to want to go to Canvas, apart from when either they're doing self-paced online learning because they want to, or because they're doing synchronous learning because that's when it's being delivered. How do you get the right balance of content and need when you have especially if you look at, I suppose, broader chat, like you've got Facebook, you've got LinkedIn, you've got, and especially at the moment under COVID, everyone's at home. I'm in Victorian Teachers Go Online Facebook group and, quite a few others. So, there are contexts like that where, people are already engaging with other people there. How can you get people within a course or a cohort or an intake to interact, ask questions and get questions answered, which, obviously today, I suppose we've tried to do that by making it part of the assessment and participation criteria. So you must pose a question and you must answer a question, or you must pose a topic and, reply to someone else's topic. But I think that's largely, one of the challenges we've still got. And I suppose, relates back to, going back to Bobby in terms of that compliance training versus non-compliance training. Did you have any other, prior compliance style systems, or is Canvas now your only learning management system in the state? And will all your HR or, I suppose any training that you need to deliver be delivered in Canvas going forward?
Sorry, who was that directed to?
You, I think.
Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, Teams has been used a lot.
Microsoft Teams specifically?
Yes.
Sorry, because we've got WebEx
one.
Teams and Microsoft. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft Teams is being used mainly for PL at the moment. But I really want to get people back into Canvas because the flow is much better.
Is that for the video conferencing stuff,
Yeah.
or just the document collaboration, or
both?
Okay.
Yeah. The Teams thing, like a Canvas course, but the flow is terrible.
You're an Office 365 organisation too, aren't you? Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's really, really interesting insight and questions. And I wrote down off your a quote there, Sean, but, how do you get people to want to go into Canvas? And I think that's another way to look at it as well. We can all say engagement and how great our courses look, but what's that desire and what's that, intrinsic motivation to jump on and sign in?
Your purpose
making
has
things accessible. Yeah, the purpose has to be sort of front and foremost. And I think what you said as well, Sean, is spot on. Like, we're in so many groups: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. You're constantly on various groups, and I think there's a lot of circle work that must happen. There must be repeat discussions that are had in lots of different areas, and how do you channel that back through to Canvas and capture that within courses, or capture it in a meaningful way that can attribute to professional development or time on the course or learning. So I actually am going to make that as a note for another bigger discussion in a session to come. I think that's a really valuable way to think about it and to twist our thinking. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you everyone for being so open. I know we are coming to an end of today's session. I hope you found it helpful, and I certainly have loved hearing a bit about each of you, what you do, and I think it will only benefit everyone else if they do jump on and listen. Sorry, lose my headpiece. But moving forward, I would look at the data and analytics coming involved, and maybe continuing that question about how and what we do to sort of channel everyone to come back to our Canvas courses that you're also heavily trying to create and make amazing. What's our first step to getting people in there? So are there any comments before we do wrap up, or things that you'd like to discuss or ideas for next time? Because we do have an agenda sort of voting list, but I'd love to hear anything else which is pressing at the moment. We've got to be able to be flexible. So yell out if there's
just a reminder that the Canvas community has got loads of stuff for people like Vincent who are just getting started. But they've just moved house into a different world. So I can't quite... So who's got lost?
The house is a little bit messy. It's a bit of a maze. You've got to get there.
But there's loads of stuff for newbies, engaging people there too. Well, there was.
It is still there.
And the info from these sessions, whereabouts can we find that? So you've got previous webinars recorded?
We do have previous webinars.
Is it somewhere in the community?
I'll just make sure the link. It is there. I think Rio's got it now. But yeah, we normally put up a meeting recording and meeting minutes. And Rio, my link didn't work, but we will find it and give it to you as part of this session today as well.
Yeah.
Rio might have it, does he?
No.
No.
I'm looking
Okay.
for it. It should exist somewhere.
So history is that we are, there were a few broken links, a few being a number, but we're actually going through them so that they will all be listed and nothing's been lost. It's just, it'll come back. Our community team are working around the clock to sort of make sure that those broken links are made live again.
Last story, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Oh, cool. Yeah. So we'll make sure that we get that sent out to you, Bobby, and you've got a list of the other meetings.
That'd be great.
Well, thank you everyone for your time today. It is hitting 2 o'clock. I really hope that please share with your friends or colleagues or anyone else who you think may benefit from this. I do believe that the more we have here, the greater breadth of sort of experience and knowledge we can get and sharing. As I said, if we can give people a small bit of airtime that helps others, that's great.
Yeah. Sean, I'd love to keep in touch too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll PM you my email now.
Beautiful.
And one of the